Hey, welcome back. This is the Freedom Corner podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Utroska. Got in the studio today with me is Representative Steve Hopkins. Of course, is a member of the Mississippi Freedom Caucus, the former chairman, the original chairman bringing us in. And so glad to have you in the studio today.
Thanks. It's good to be here. Always talking to the liberty-minded people that watch these videos.
Yep. Well, good. So some exciting news. So I almost when I introduced you, I almost said senator, but you are a representative right now. But you have announced that you will be running for your the Senate seat that you now or you're in right now.
I'm in District 1, Senate District 1 in DeSoto County. Yes, I have qualified to run for that. I'm excited about it because we need people in the Senate who not just flying under the radar,
right,
but taking a stand.
Yep.
You look at all the things that are going on in the country. We've got to have people. We've got to have fighters.
Yeah. Both
sides, House and Senate. And we've got some other exciting candidates too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, in the last couple of years, since Delbert's been in the Senate as a lieutenant governor, we have a couple of fighters over in the Senate, especially Chris McDaniel and Melanie Sojourner, but neither one of them are coming back, at least in their Senate seat. Now, of course, Chris McDaniel has announced he's running against Delbert. So if Chris wins that would be, great for, like-minded people across the state. That we would finally get a conservative, at that helm. But whether he's there or not, we've got to fill the ranks down in the Senate because there's just not a whole lot there outside of those two who won't at least be in their seats come next year.
You got to have solid conservative fighters who are not afraid to go against the system, to go against the status quo, and to push back on the local swamp and the federal swamp. I mean, we've got the federal government pushing their way in more and more and more. And if we're ever going to be a self-sustainable state, we got to have fighters who will push back and say, okay, we don't need your money.
Yeah.
Okay, we will be self-sustaining. We will work towards being a Florida, being a Texas.
Yeah.
I'm tired of people saying, why can't we be more like Florida? Well, it starts with electing the right people, and we've got some really good candidates.
Absolutely. There's a handful that have announced in the Senate that they're running. And of course, there's a handful that are in the House that are running.
Right.
Jamie Goodkind in your current House seat district has announced he's running. So look forward to following him in his race.
Yeah.
But then some other patriots that are running in the Senate, Lauren Smith and Alan Sibley and Walter Hopper.
Right.
All great candidates that are running. So look forward to watching their campaigns. But yeah, I mean, we have been, I feel like, in the House with the Mississippi Freedom Caucus, which is a House only caucus right now. You guys have been very strong over the last few years, been really the patriot fighters in, the House.
Right.
But the Senate hasn't had that, of course, again, Chris McDaniel, Melanie Sojourner, Kathy Chisholm, usually fights with those two as well. But there's been a lack, I feel like, in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
So glad to see you running for that. Other patriots in Mississippi running for Senate seats. Again, whether Chris McDaniel wins, lieutenant governor or not, we've got to have senators that can fill those ranks in the Mississippi Senate. And I will say that Mississippi is only a House Freedom Caucus. We very much modeled our caucus here after the U.S. House Freedom Caucus, which is only in the House. The network came in last year. Of course, I'm employed by the network, the State Freedom Caucus Network.
Doing a great job, by the way.
Oh, thank you. And the Mississippi Freedom Caucus, who was already an established House Freedom Caucus, joined the network last year. And but some of the other freedom caucuses across the country that are in the network are bicameral caucuses.
You're right.
And so it's going to be something interesting to see if we get enough true constitutional conservative patriots in the Senate.
Right.
There's always that possibility that the Mississippi Freedom Caucus could go bicameral next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible we could have 5 senators.
Yeah.
5 senators. If all of those people we talked about, we could have 5 senators.
Yeah.
In a bicameral freedom caucus.
Yeah.
We've got some exciting guys coming up at the House too, especially John Williams.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That is a liberty-minded patriot if there ever was one. I'm so excited. I'm proud to call him my friend.
Yep, and another DeSoto County.
Yes.
So DeSoto County continues to put out some good, liberty-minded conservatives, guys that we're excited about, and so John has been very, well integrated with the Mississippi Freedom Caucus, fighting with us along our side. He's on the board here at the Mississippi Freedom Caucus, and so yes, he will be an automatic, Freedom Caucus member coming in from the very beginning, knowing how it works, knowing what to do, how to fight. So he will be a good one too, and I think he's got a pretty good chance of winning his race.
Right. Well, for anybody that's true conservative, and anybody in the Hernando area that voted against that local tax, which was the vast majority, John Williams is your guy, because the other guy voted to raise that tax. Yeah,
well, and John Williams, if he was, he was definitely the main driver towards that. And, I'm not saying he did it all on his own. There were other people certainly helping, but John Williams was one of the main drivers to fight against that tax.
He spearheaded it, got the signs. If he hadn't got the signs to vote no, there would have been no opposition. It'd have been all the people spending money trying to get it passed.
Yeah.
So John... people of Hernando, thank John Williams that, you don't have more tax money coming out of your spendable income.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about that. I'm excited that the Senate district goes into Hernando too, that I'm running for. So I would actually be John's senator.
Yeah.
So if I won that, but it's candidates though, and you bring up a good point about fighters, and we need fighters in both houses. We need more than anything the help of those that believe like we believe. And that's the people that are watching these videos. And we need those people to come along beside us and partner with us in these campaigns. And listen, reach out to John, reach out to me. We need your help. If we're going to win this, we've got to raise money, because these candidates, the establishment of candidates, will have all the money they need, because the swamp's going to come alongside them, because they give in to the swamp, they give in to the special interests, they give in to the bureaucrats, where we won't.
We
stand on principle. So we need principled voters, patriots to come alongside us, partner with us, and help us win these elections.
Yeah, that's right. Financially and, helping on the ground. Certainly anyone that's within driving distance that can come out and help the campaign, when you get to door knocking, get to talking to people, but certainly financially. It's funny, Dana Criswell has a story, he'll tell sometimes about, lobbyists came up to him and, was talking to him about, wanting to do something on a bill. And he asked him, he said, you lobbyists come and talk to us all the time when you need us on a bill, but we never see you sending us any money. And this particular lobbyist said, well, you're so principled. I know where you stand. So when I need your help and I come tell you about a bill, I know if you're going to stand for it or not. So why would I need to pay you?
That's right.
Why would I need to pay you off for it?
They call us principled conservatives like it's a slam.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Are you hearing yourself? We are principled conservatives. We believe in the Republican Party platform, and we vote based on policy alone, not personality, not on the highest bidder. So yes, we are principled conservatives, and everybody should be glad that they have a few of those at least.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. So the people who are getting lots and lots of money from lobbyists to challenge people like you and some of these other guys that are standing on principle, the candidates challenging you are getting lots of money from lobbyists, and anybody that's in a district and they look at that and they look at the financial records and see that their representative or their senator is getting all this money from lobbying organizations, that's not a good thing.
No,
because again, just like Dana says in the story, that this lobbyist came and told him this, the lobbyists aren't going to give you any money because they know they can't buy your vote.
Right. We can't be bought.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if you're given, if someone's getting that much money from lobbyists, there's a reason why the lobbyists are giving them that money.
Right. They can be bought.
Yeah.
I mean, and our stance all along, Dana, mine, Dan, Brady, Chris Brown, we've all said, if we told somebody something at the front door, you can mark it down.
Yeah.
Because that's what we believe. And I will never betray what I told somebody at their front door.
Yeah.
And keep component of that is making Mississippi the kind of state we can all be proud of. Do something for all Mississippians first. Let's see what it's like to be a Florida or a Texas,
that's right.
Let's pass some of that legislation instead of killing that legislation. Stephen, we had a bill this morning, another bill by one of the most left-leaning Democrats that passed almost unanimously.
Yeah.
A bill. Well, that's not the first one. There's 2 or 3 strong Democrat bills that have passed this year. Guess how many true conservative bills have passed?
Well, how many had even made it out of committee with the Freedom Caucus member name on it?
They never even were brought up for a vote. So all those bills that everybody asks us about, all those bills that everybody asks us to champion, chairman killed them in committee by just not bringing them up for a vote.
Right.
Let that sink in.
Yep. Parents' Bill of Rights dead. Election integrity bills, for the most part, dead. Of course, there was this kind of faux election integrity bill that just increases the mandatory minimums, but they're not prosecuting those, the current law anyways for those, so it's not going to do much.
Those bills are smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
We passed election reform. No, you didn't. You just stiffened penalties.
Yeah, that's right.
And people that are going to do that don't care what the penalties are anyway.
That's right. Yeah.
What you need to do is tighten down so that people that shouldn't be voted or people that shouldn't be cheating can't do it.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So it's gone. Religious freedom is gone. It's out the window. Very little chance that it can come back. I mean, so everything that this caucus put out in its agenda, the 2023 agenda, saying, hey, these were the things we're going to pass this year and work on this year, pretty much all of it's dead. Can't even get it out of committee. And again, the caucus doesn't care if their name's on it or not.
We absolutely do not.
But other bills that other Republicans authored that were very similar in style or the topic or of the ones that you guys had, their bills died too. So it wasn't just your names, dying on bills. It was other Republicans who had introduced this conservative legislation. It's all dead.
Yeah. Anything that's really good, because all your moderates and all of your Democrats, for the most part, there are some good Democrats who will vote on good legislation whenever, that will cross over and vote on good stuff if it helps the people. And there are moderates to moderate right that will too.
Yeah.
But for the most part, these people will collude with the speaker, get with them and say nothing controversial this year. It's an election year. We don't want our name on anything. Well, that's not why I was sent here.
Right.
I was sent here to vote. Now, we didn't have that problem when they voted to take the voice of the people away for changing the flag.
Yeah.
They said, no, we know better than you. We're going to go ahead and change it here, and not trusting the people. Like I told the speaker, I said, you need to trust the people because that has already been put on the people once. You need to trust the people to do what's right again.
Yep.
Don't take away their power. And you look at the ballot process. Have we gotten that back? No, we've gotten a watered down version to smoke and mirrors again to make people think that it's back, but it is not back from what it was.
Right.
We wouldn't have voter ID if it wasn't for the ballot process.
Right.
Because people want to avoid all the true conservative initiatives.
Yeah, well, the legislature certainly wants to, avoid it as much as possible. Correct. They just don't want to make hard decisions when it comes to conservative legislation.
But that's why we're elected.
I know.
That's why we're sitting down here. That's what the people say.
Yeah.
The people say, no, we sent you down there to do what we want done.
Yeah.
But instead of doing that, we're going to pass things that sounds good, but that's it.
Right. Yep. And so I played this morning on my radio. I have a radio show every morning. I played this morning a clip on my radio show from the debate yesterday. There was a Democrat who was at the well, and he said he was actually very honest once and said when there was a Republican who was questioning him about an amendment he was making, the Democrat said, listen, you're going to vote however the speaker tells you to vote. Mm-hmm. It was like, you're just going to follow leadership. If leadership tells you to vote yay on it, you're going to vote yay on it. Why are you asking me these questions?
Right.
Which was 100% true. He knows that. Everybody else in that chamber knows that on most bills that come up, you hear it over and over again when they fly through these bills and they're taking these votes really quickly. You hear the vote count, and the vote count is so often 116-6, 116-6, 116-6. It's because every Democrat and every Republican, except for the 6 in the Freedom Caucus, are just voting yay on everything that comes across. Every bill comes across as a yay.
But it's not just because we may be voting no. We do our due diligence.
Right.
Now, somebody said, I went to a thing the other night, and somebody said, well, nobody reads bills. Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
We do. We break up the bills. We read the bills. We've got folks that help us go through the bills. We do our due diligence. Yep. And we've come up with a bill tracker that we can actually look through good policy, bad policy, and stuff that's gray area, neutral. And we get a good understanding of these bills. We're not just pushing a green button.
Right.
We're not just looking at the lower right to see how that lights up to see how we're going to vote.
Yeah.
That's not why you were elected.
Yeah.
You were elected to do your due diligence, to look into those bills, and to vote how the people elected you to vote.
Right. Right, which is based off how you campaign. That's why they elected you, because you campaign on a platform that you believe in, your principles. They elected you to stick to those principles, not to come up here and vote that bottom right to see what the speaker's doing.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, and we see it just all the time. And like you said, it's not just that you guys are voting no on everything, but you're actually reading the bills and not just relying on what the speaker's doing. And so I'll mention this, the bill tracker, it's publicly available, freedomvotes.ms. Anybody can go in there and see how you guys have ranked, red light something, green light something, or neutral, and give comments there, even as saying what the bill does, so that when you guys are on the floor, you got it pulled up, and so you can remember every bill and have notes on every bill, so you know how to vote based on your, basically your collective principles as the caucus. And people in the caucus vary, on some bills. Some will vote against what the tracker says, because again, you guys are all voting your principles and based on what you told the people you would vote. So sometimes there's a disagreement even within the caucus, but it at least gives you a place to start. And so you're not just trying to listen to what the chairman's saying when he's up there presenting it. Because as we know, many times the chairman will go up, or if it's the author presenting the bill, and the questions will be asked, well, sir, does it do this or that? And the person presenting the bill says, well, I'm not real sure. I think it does this or that. But maybe it does this or that. They just don't even know.
We have one of those today with wiretapping.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we have wiretapping in Mississippi. Law enforcement now can wiretap somebody without a warrant.
Yeah.
But the presenter said at the well that we don't have it, that they got to go get a warrant, which is not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've had a warrantless wiretap bill for the last 5 or 6 years, trying to get rid of it. And every time I talk to somebody, well, you can't do that without a warrant. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
So again, we need people that will do their due diligence, crack down, because you're not upholding your principles and your promises to the people if you don't.
Yep. 100%. Well, look, it has been fantastic to have you. Try to keep it short. I know lots of people watching. They don't want us to belabor too much, but we certainly enjoy talking all the time, and look forward to watching you in your race for a Senate seat up in District 1. Mm-hmm. And so look forward to that. And then, of course, all the guys that we mentioned today, there's a handful more that we didn't mention that will be running, that we're very closely watching their races. I think we could have a very good slate of candidates coming in next year, true constitutional conservatives, coming in, that if the caucus does ultimately go bicameral like it has in some other states that are within the network, could have a very strong Freedom Caucus in both chambers fighting just like you guys have been doing over the last several years in the House. Yeah,
that's the hope. And we appreciate the prayers and the people getting involved financially and volunteering their time so that we can make that happen. We've got to grow the presence of the true conservatives in the legislature.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I will end it the way I always end this podcast, Steve. There's no one else I would rather have fighting in my corner. Thanks so much.
Right back at you.
All right. Thanks for watching, and God bless.